I'm gonna need the script.
Okay. Hi there. Stop.
It says, hi, and welcome to today's video. I'm Deion, and I'm Theo.
Hi, and welcome to today's video. I'm Deion.
And I'm Theo.
And right now we are completing our van life year. We've already finished the first leg of our travel plans, but we're at home for a little while, so we wanted to actually make a video going over like our overarching plans for the year, because I realized we never really did that. We just kind of jumped in and started making videos about what we were doing. I think we should start first with why we're doing van life and why we're doing a year. I will do my best to answer briefly. Why van life? One, because I was very interested in the idea of tiny living. I think when I kind of got into it first is because, you know, we were paying high rent on our apartment and I wasn't really happy there. I mean, we lived in the middle of nowhere, Iowa, so high rent. I guess not high rent compared to other places, but it felt like a lot of money for not very much value. So I got really into the idea of minimizing and living small so that you can, I mean, I guess in a lot of ways live big. And van life was a part of that. I've always really loved travel, and specifically road trips. And so van life felt like that really, I mean, it just felt perfect when I first discovered that this is something people were doing, and more accessible than an RV, because I mean, we bought our van for $1,600.
Which I think that was a steal
Oh yeah.
for us.
We had a budget of $5,000 and we stayed under that for, obviously, as you can see, the conversion is not totally finished. We've been able to go places in this van, which I think is, if not the perfect aesthetic representation for Instagram, proof to anybody watching that you can do it. Like you, and we've had a lot of support from people. So obviously everybody's in a different kind of situation, but we've also faced our fair share of hurdles. I just want to say that like, you can probably do it. If you tap into the resources you have available to you and you work hard and you one day might have a van like this beautiful
Lucky you.
Evangeline. Okay, so we've answered the question of why van life specifically. Why just a year? Like, why not just say, oh, we're going to do van life forever?
Well, because we don't want to do van life forever.
Or we didn't know for sure.
Yeah, we didn't know. We wanted to set ourselves like a reasonable goal for how long we could do van life. We'd never done it before. We weren't going to say forever, because if we hated it immediately, then that would just throw everything off.
But I think that if we had started and we didn't like it and we were like, well, this is our plan moving forward, it would be easier to quit than just saying, we're only doing this for a year, you know? So saying our minimum is a year, we could always decide to go longer if we wanted to.
Also, just, we have like future plans, like you plan on doing your MFA.
If I'm accepted.
Right.
If the schools plan on having me, if a school plans on having me.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I don't think we really want to live in a van for that.
No. So this channel is about travel, not necessarily about van life. I didn't want to pigeonhole us into being the van life people. So I also really wanted to make it like clear, right now we're just doing this for a year. We could come back to it in the future. I don't know. But I also have a lot of other big ideas for things that I would love to do when it comes to traveling. I would love to go to Europe. Other than applying for an MFA, the projects at the top of my mind are like a major metro project, which would take about 3 years, where we would live in each of the 3 largest cities by population in the US.
Chicago, LA, New York City.
Which obviously, like I said, that would be a long project, but it's the kind of thing I think sounds fun, especially as I have the privilege to do that as a remote worker. Also, a year just feels tidy to me. I feel like a year is a way to experience. We're gonna do every month we will have done van. So if we just did it for a summer, we would only know what it was like in the summer.
Right.
But a year encompasses all. It feels tidy. It feels big enough without being too big. So those are the reasons why van life and why a year. We have a list here in our notebook of our van life goals.
Give van life a shot. We're trying to give van life our fair judgment.
Goal number 2, see as much of the US as we can. Like I said, I've always loved road trips, the great American road trip. Maybe this is gonna come off as sounding weird, but I almost like the idea of, like in a video game when you travel to a new place and it like unlocks. I kind of think about like the US or like, well, I guess, yeah, like everywhere like this, but specifically right now, the US, where it's like, I feel like if we can touch down and make contact in every place in the van, I'm gonna feel more emboldened to travel there in the future in other ways.
Okay.
I don't know if that's like a silly thing to say. Oh, I'd be scared to go to Burlington, Vermont if we didn't drive there first.
It's kind of like you said, you open the map up But then it makes me think of like there are places you can like teleport to. So like it's like you've already been there.
Like if we were to go back to Las Vegas, check out our 2 videos about Las Vegas, we would know more specifically now, okay, if we were going to go fly in or whatever, what are we doing? We're still trying to iron out the details on a Route 66 road trip this summer. I think it would be perfect. I think it would be so fun because it's a centennial. And if we do that, we might go to Vegas. We then would have the tools to tell our friends this, and this, you know, these are the things we think you'll like the most. Also for point 2, obviously you cannot drive to Hawaii in a van. We could technically drive to Alaska. As of right now with the political climate, we're not super comfortable leaving. It feels a little bit precarious to make sure we can come back. And also, as far as that goes, there are also states that we are not really traveling to, specifically Florida, Texas, for the most part. We did do a tiny jaunt down into like the Guadalupe Mountains, but we won't be doing any like thorough exploration of Texas, at least for the, you know, next few years. And then more recently, Kansas has had a couple of laws passed that are not like great, and we don't want to support that. And also just for personal safety.
Goal number 3 is to scout more places for us to travel to. Presumably, nope, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
Okay, so this is how I kind of see it. Like I said, I really want postcards and pins to be about travel and not necessarily about van life.
Yeah.
And so when I was thinking of what would we want to do to kick off making content about travel, van life felt perfect because, like I said, okay, so we went to Tucson and we tried one Sonoran hot dog, right? And we really liked it. But in the future, it would be cool if we return to Tucson, we could do a video like trying every Sonoran hot dog, you know, trying to find the best Sonoran hot dog, or, you know.
Okay, so goal 3, scout for more places to travel. It's allowing us to decide to figure out places we'd want to go back and spend more time at, explore more. There are places we don't. We don't need to go back to.
Exactly. Okay, so now that we've gone over why we chose to do it this way and what our specific goals are for the year, let's talk about the 5 legs of our van life year. Do you want to tell them about the first one, which is already complete?
Yep.
And you can find a playlist of the vlogs we did during that leg here. We'll put it in.
Okay, so we just got done with the snowbirds baby portion of our trip. So the idea for it was that we would head to places where there was no snow for the winter, because we don't have, our van is not insulated and we don't have a heater. So if we wanted to be in the van, we had to go someplace warm. We ain't putting chains on the tires. We started off, we went to Oklahoma, through Texas to New Mexico, and then Arizona, California, ended up in Nevada. We wanted to hit Utah along the way and Colorado. We did not do that because we had a little bit of a family emergency that we had to come, like,
adjust our plans.
Yeah.
We had to skip basically Utah. Come home like a week, 2 weeks early.
2 weeks early.
We ended up skipping Sequoia and Yosemite in California because when we were there was like a California winter storm. The next leg of our trip is different than what we first envisioned. If you're interested in hearing more about the snowbirds baby portion of the trip, check out that playlist. But also we have a video that was like a reflection recap wrap up type video. You can check that out. Okay, so that brings us to
Chasing Sunlight.
Yeah, which we will be leaving for hopefully soon.
Yeah.
And it's called that because the primary goal is to get to Oregon and Washington, Portland and Seattle. Those are 2 places I'm really excited to travel to. I think Seattle specifically has longer days. Like in that area, they have longer days than like where we're at.
We're starting off, we're heading through Nebraska, hitting Omaha, gonna head through Colorado. Are we going down, go to Utah? We're gonna hit Utah, the east side of California that we missed. So Yosemite and Sequoia. We're going to travel up to Oregon and then through Washington. We're going to try and stay along the coast, but also hit, Portland and Seattle. And then we will be making our way back to Iowa through Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota, back to Iowa around the 4th of July. The Savannah Bananas are going to be playing at Kinnick Stadium. Baseball. But we are going to see that with my family.
Following that, we have just a little chunk of time that is going to be from the 4th of July to the beginning of August.
And about July 30th.
And that is going to be called Summer in the Midwest, mostly because the Savannah Bananas game in Iowa City is on the 4th of July, basically. And then we're going to go to the Hinterland Music Festival in St. Charles, Iowa, which is right at the very end of July, beginning of August. So we wouldn't have time to really go anywhere, but immediately around us. I want to say free-for-all slash least goal-oriented portion.
Yeah.
We might end up spending more time with family. We also might be doing our Route 66 road trip during that chunk.
Yeah.
In which case, not so much summer in the Midwest. But I would argue that a Route 66 road trip is like the epitome of summer. Mm-hmm. And Route 66 starts in the Midwest, so...
Being from the Midwest, we've been to quite a few places.
Right.
Places we haven't really been to and checked out. So like Wisconsin, Michigan. Actually, is that it? Really?
Yeah, because anything east will hit on the way out east. So it doesn't really make sense to be like, oh, we're going to go to Ohio.
We've been to Minneapolis a few times.
Quite a few times.
Yeah. I mean...
Been to St. Louis.
We've been to St. Louis. We've done Kansas City.
Chicago.
A couple times in Chicago. But that's not to say that you shouldn't check those places out because you won't see them on the vlog.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that we don't like those places. We've just been there.
Summer in the Midwest, a little bit of a free-for-all, the loosest of the categories.
Yes.
So it's hard to make a promise. I'm hoping we're going to be able to do the Route 66 trip because I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It won't actually be van life content because we would be taking the road trip with my sister and some of our friends. So we would be renting an SUV for that, but I do think it would be a lot of fun. I think it's really like this is the time to do it because it's a centennial. So I would love to make that happen. So what's our next section called?
Purple is a fall color.
And why is it called that?
That is from the live action Scooby-Doo. Some guy says that to Daphne.
Well, here's a clue. Purple is a fall color. It's the middle of May.
That's how we came to that name. And the fall portion will start immediately after the festival in August and will end, I think, around October. And that's the section of the trip that I am the most excited for, I think, for a lot of reasons. We've both been to New York City, but as children. When did you go to New York?
4 years old.
And why did you go to New York?
We don't need to talk about it.
We'll talk about it in the New York vlog. That'll be a little Easter egg. I think New York in the fall is going to be very fun. The whole East Coast in the fall is going to be very fun.
We were trying to plan it out so that we will follow the fall foliage map about when it's peak season for all of those places.
Couple of things to talk about with the purple is a fall color section. It is harder to do van life on the East Coast than it is on the West Coast. West Coast is like built for van life. Some people might argue that it is too saturated at this point and that a lot of places have started turning against van life out there. But our experience was that it was easy. We, with minimal research and minimal preparation, were able to have a place to sleep every night. There were very few times that we struggled with that. One was when our van broke down. We don't know if we can sleep here, but we have to.
The other one, we were in the heart of San Diego, downtown, which is to be expected.
And even that was not dire. But I know on the East Coast, things are a lot different. I had a friend who went out there to do car camping, and she actually got arrested on the Canadian border. Shout out if you're watching this. So she had a good, warning of what not to do. We may end up getting a campground, subscription type thing to go out there. We'll have to do more research and see, I know a lot of parks start closing down in October. That might make things more difficult. We do have harvest hosts, which, fingers crossed, is going to help us out. I think that overall planning is going to be a lot more important for the fall portion of our trip. What is the section after that? Do you remember?
No.
It's called, Oh, the Weather Outside is Just Fine. It's kind of the Christmas version of Snowbirds, baby, because this one is where, having finished the path down the East Coast, we're going to be delivered right into the South. Again, as we said, we're not going to Florida. Kind of unfortunately. I mean, the politics there, not great, but I'm sure most of the people there are lovely. There are a lot of iconic places I would love to go see in Florida. The Everglades would be amazing, but as of right now, that will not be a part of our plan unless something were to change significantly. That last chunk is going to be fairly short. We will be missing Thanksgiving with our family, but I think we will be home. We're going to try and be home for Christmas. So obviously that kind of keeps us from staying.
Yeah.
I have played with the idea of overlapping a little bit, maybe in January and February of next year, because I'm going to be applying for MFAs in creative writing and we don't get decisions on those back until March. So we won't really know what our next step is, whether we're going to start that major metro project or whether we're going to start looking into moving somewhere for me to do an MFA. We won't know really until March or April. So I played around with the idea of van life year plus, which would fill in the gaps of, so we've been home for about 2 weeks now. Obviously during the summer, I said we might end up spending more time with family.
Right.
If we do the Route 66 road trip, that's not technically van life. If we were to do January and February of next year, that would we're going to fill in all the gaps. We've definitely done 365 days of living in a van, which is not that important, but it would feel good, maybe.
I was just going to look and see how we wrap it up. Let's open this.
You're addicted to scripts.
Well, I like that I don't have to think of what to say. if you like the sound of
Okay,
that.
I'll do it. Thank you. Or you can do it, but you have to do it naturally. So that is our van life year. Those are our plans. We do have basically day by day
Right.
where we're planning to go. If you go back and watch our Snowbirds baby recap, you'll discover that we changed quite a bit.
Yes.
We modified the travel plans quite a bit. I guess maybe we should make like a van life pet peeves video or something. Sometimes I get really frustrated when people will be like, van life is not easy. You never know where you're gonna sleep. And I'm like, well, you can make plans though. Like you can research, you can have a plan and then like have the flexibility to change it without just like being aimless and having no plan. It's mind-boggling to me how people will sometimes communicate that as a fact of van life. Like you'll be aimless, you'll be drifting in the wind. Each day will take you a different direction. It's like, well, just because you're living in a van doesn't mean you suddenly have no autonomy. You're capable of making plans and doing research. And so that's a message I want to get through. If you're watching this video and you're considering doing van life and that's something that scares you, it's not like an integral part of the life. You can make it however you want. And for me personally, that includes quite a bit of planning and research and preparation, which is why we're making a video about our plans for an entire year.
Yeah.
That's why we have color-coded maps.
Yeah. If I did van life by myself, which I probably wouldn't, I don't think I would have planned anything really.
Yeah, you wouldn't even know where you were going the morning you left.
No, it would be just flip a coin.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
So I kind of get why people are like that, but no, it's like obviously I can plan. I just I wouldn't want to.
Okay, so yeah, that is our van life year with as much detail as we are willing to share. Like I said, we do have it planned out pretty granularly, but we're not going to be like, hey, if you want to find us, here's the day and time and location. I was thinking for Snowbirds Baby, I think I am going to put out like I'll probably share the My Maps, share the plan of what we were going to do with a comparison to what we ended up doing. For anybody who's interested in that, I'm hoping to get our website up soon, so you can check that out if you want to. And if you like the sound of a van life year, if it's something you're interested in or something you're thinking about doing, or even if you would just like to live vicariously through other people, we're here. And we're going to be doing this at least through to December. And we would love to have you along for the ride. We only sleep 2 and we only see 2, but you can watch our videos.
Mm-hmm. Goodbye. I love you.
No. Thanks for watching, and we hope that you'll be here when we get back on the road.